Going live. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another daily stream and this week's special with yours truly, Harry Tradesharpe.
Hello,
Today,
guys.
he's going to break down the charts. Probably won't tell you particularly what we all wanted to tell you, but he's going to tell us straight, and he's going to give us the facts. So, Harry, take it away, mate.
Well, what do we have here? Nice red candles to start off the week. I mean, what a brilliant sight to see. We can fix this pretty easily, guys. Don't worry. I mean, all we have to do is a little trick. You press Alt and I, and look at that. We're bullish again. And the market seems like we're continuing up here, guys. It looks pretty good. I have a new setting on my chart where red candles are good and green candles are bad. So you better get used to it. And no, guys, unfortunately, that's not the case. We are, yeah, we're basically resolving we're in this range, and I do expect us to resolve this range very, very, very soon. Now, looking at how the CMEs closed on the weekly, it's not a weekly closure of health and fitness. Every time we've seen a weekly closure below breaking the wick like so, you normally see some continuation, and yeah, it's a little bit worrying. I mean, get your alts ready. I'm ready to have a look at them. But looking at Bitcoin itself, quick overview. It's not very complicated at all. What we can see is we have this range. Uh, the price wicked up to this top side of the range twice, got rejected, and now it has had, broke this level here. Yesterday, I was talking about if we didn't hold this level here, like so, uh, like that, if we broke it, then I look for some downside movement. And I said the downside movement would be to the bottom of the range right here. And you can see that downside movement was initiated immediately. And then we came up and even retested that area and then had a proper breakdown. So, that's like a, support flip resistance, not very good. Now we're having kind of an accumulation at the bottom of the range. It is the weekend. I think everyone's a bit scared. Everyone's a bit shaken out. And they don't really know what's going on. So I don't think there's much volume in trading. I have Bybit here. I logged out so we can have a look at some of the trading volume. You can see that, it's not very high volume here in the order books. We have some more sell positions coming here, 4 million, dollars worth of sell contracts, but that's not very a lot of positions here. Most people are just kind of closing and opening new positions. So looking, what do I need basically? Well, I would need a 4-hour closure below this area here, and then I look for price, to fill in the next range, come down here, probably a bounce here, most likely, and then after that, we'll come back and see, maybe it wants to set in a base here at 40,000. It's totally possible. But if it does want to break back in this range, then we can talk about lower prices. And yeah, I mean, I just want to stick on higher time frames. I don't want to go to much lower time frames because they're looking pretty scary. Looking at, the weekly, obviously, we do have here a daily zone that I am looking for some sort of, for price to probably, I would like to see price do something at this zone right here on these wicks. I do think that price does actually have some immediate reaction here and possibly call in the bottom for this. And I do think that we do have a possibility of accumulating, going sideways. And I do think that based on this dump, we don't have a V-shaped recovery because this is a pretty huge dump. It's definitely the biggest I've seen this year, and I think it is the biggest dump in history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I mean, not dump in percent wise, but in a day we had a $10,000 move, which is the biggest, but not in percentage wise. If this is a super cycle, guys, then I don't see why we can't, this be the range where we start going sideways for a while, maybe 2 months, maybe a month, and just keep going sideways and eventually kickstart it. I mean, it's great for alts. We'll see a lot of people start, you know, drooling their profits into altcoins against the BTC pairing. against the dollar pairing. I'm not too sure how they would react. Depends on the market sentiment. But I definitely, Gooding can probably give me a better idea of how the dollar pairing would react with this. But based on my experience, I think the dollar pairing on the low market cap will probably pump, but high market cap blue chips probably get more affected by Bitcoin. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard because we saw sort of what happened over September, October, November, and I always get worried when you have such a big downturn and then Bitcoin starts moving. Will it take alts with it? And we didn't see that in October, November, December, and I'm wondering whether we'll see that after such a big dump and everything's sort of taken a big hit, right? What if Bitcoin were to start this accumulation, like you said, over the next month? And will it be good for alts? And I know the last couple of months it's been really good for alts, but that October, November, December, according to those who have been in the game longer than I have, believe that that's not something that usually happens. So I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think I think most likely we'll see that alts will sort of pump. I know the American dollar is going to go down. I also know that we have a $1.9 trillion stimulus coming in as well, and data shows that that it usually goes straight into into cryptocurrencies. So I don't know, mate. Um, I can't really predict it. I did talk about March being relatively bearish historically over the last 10 years, and we're seeing that sort of play out. I think some of the dumps as well in March they weren't too big either. Like it wasn't like a didn't say like I think there's like one out of the 11 that are recorded were only relatively small. So one out of the 11 was big. The rest were like they're all red, but they weren't like massive dumps. So I'm wondering now that we've sort of seen the big dump, right? And maybe it'll dump a little bit more. You've talked about that $40,000 to $42,000 support as if we break down. Are we going to, are we going to, um, I forget the point I was trying to make, but it was a good point. I felt, yeah, I think we're going to see so that's right. That's right. So I think we're going to see recovery once we hit that sort of possibly that mark. And I don't think the whole of March is going to be bearish. I think we're going to just probably see this period now and maybe the next week or two being relatively boring and bearish as hopefully Bitcoin holds as the rest of the stock market sort of dumps. And then I think we'll sort of start to see a good recovery by the back end of March. That's just me getting the 8 ball out and just going like this and getting the answer that I want there. But I like the fundamentals are still bullish. I've looked at the data and there's no more miners that are coming in and dumping their coins at this stage. I've said this in the chat as well that I believe that the miners accumulate large amounts. They deliberately dump so that they can short and accumulate more, but also cash in so that they can buy miners. And if you guys know the mining industry well, when miners are available, you've got to put orders in and they sell them in batches because it's cost effective and they're in high demand. They sell out almost instantly. So you got to pre-order them, right? So that's why they accumulate a lot so that they allow the price to go up, and then they dump essentially so they have a nice big bag that they could just buy a heap of all the the new miners that are out there. And I think we've seen that happen just recently. I'd love to confirm that by having a look at when the miners are available for people to buy, and and I guess we probably I don't know. You don't this information. It's very close knit, especially within China. There's a lot of miners that we don't see on the market to other countries. They keep it very in house. That we see the Ant miner ASIC miners, but they're not usually available to the rest of the world. Um, anyway, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but I think what we'll see is I think we'll see a recovery towards the back end of this March. I still believe that we're in a bull run, and Harry, I'll let you get back to your TA, mate.
No worries, no good information, man. I mean, just looking at past data, like he was saying, right? This indicator I used, not indicator, but this metric I used, you know, every time, just for anyone who's new, anytime we did reach the midline of my measurement tool, we did have some sort of dump. You can see that consistent, and now it's back tested even in this current year, but never has it been a reversal. I mean, I'm actually expecting this cycle to be more like the cycle we had in 2013, right? Where we have a massive run up and then we have this sideways period. And guess where that sideways period does come? Right around that midline, after wicking to that midline. Now, there is diminishing returns as well as diminishing pullbacks. The pullbacks, as the asset grows and the market cap becomes bigger, we should see less, harsher pullbacks. Now you can see the pullback that we had in 2013 here was, 73%. Do I think that's going to happen? No. You know, something like along the lines of here, minus this V-shaped thing here, or along the lines of a 30% to a 35% pullback is a lot more reasonable. And the reason why I'm saying that is that if you look at here, the time, in terms of weeks is 25 weeks, right? So, this pullback took 25 weeks. How much is that in months? I'm not good at maths, guys. I can do numbers on charts, but not maths. So,
What was it?
it's a
Sorry, how
couple,
many weeks?
yeah, 25.
25 weeks. That's about 5 months,
Yeah, so I mean,
5 or 6.
if this is another super cycle, then we might see an accumulation. Now, does it have to be 5 months? No. Could it be 3 months? Yeah. If it is actually ends up doing this, then I look at this bull run to be extended for maybe a 2 years, 2.5 year bull run we could have, right? We could see this bull run extend into 2022 and have this, a super cycle where we basically see, it cool down a bit, let the market sentiment correct itself, let the economies sort of correct themselves, and then start hedging against the dollars, and then more cash flow starts moving in as the asset becomes more undervalued again, because now there's a bit of an overvalued feeling with all of the institutions investing. It's a bit of euphoria, and it's healthy to see, something go into a sideways consolidation. I know people want to get rich quick and stuff like that, but when it comes to Mr. King Bitcoin, that kind of stage, it's becoming more into adoption, not speculation. And you used to see in the past, all the pumps were based on speculation. But now that we're actually seeing adoption by institutions and stuff like this, we could expect the asset to start moving more and more. Uh, more and more slowly and organically, to be honest. And I do think that as this adoption starts to, flourish, and the asset becomes undervalued again, we will see that second run. Now, historically, as Gooding was saying, March is one of the months, and I've just went back while he was talking and looking, and it is, March is around all of these times here, and I think it's this dump right here, uh, April, May, here. It's right around here. So that, historically we do have a dump, but never has March been a reversal, right? In 2013 you could call this a reversal. Based on the weekly, there's no reversal till we break the $31,000 dollar level. Now, in terms of that 30% pullback, 33% pullback that we could have, where does that bring us? Well, it brings us right to the top, right, where I drew that box in earlier on. And that would make a lot of sense for us to pull back there, retest the highs here, and then continue it on. So to be honest, I'm not that bearish. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, is a different story. Ethereum, unfortunately, is looking, very, very, very scary. You can see no top wick even on the candle, right? And no top wick means that when you have a candle open with no top wick, it means that there's no range for price to go up, right? It's just, it opened with so much momentum, so much selling pressure to the downside, that it didn't make a range. So price didn't pop up making a range, because on a lower time frame there'll be candles. So basically it's just closed with pure downside momentum. Now, you could see it's broken 3 week of trend, so that's obviously not very good. The daily is breaking structure like no tomorrow. We've even broken out of our range here at, and looking to fill another range. It's coming down to this liquidation box here, which is coming down at the 1,200 if Bitcoin wants to break that level that we are. So Ethereum is not looking good, and based on its fundamentals at the moment, it's not the picture of health and fitness unless they start, this really they need to fix this gas problem, and everyone's moving to the alternatives, and we've seen that with the pump of Cardano and stuff like that. In terms of people wanting to tethering up, the thing is that we can only use technical analysis to our advantage, but never to predict the future, right? We could only use it to give us a indication, and I play by levels, right? So to be honest, I'm a long-term holder of Bitcoin and stuff like that, so I'm not too worried. In terms of your alts, then you could hedge your positions by having keeping your eyes on the chart, and if we do break this 44,000 level on a 4-hour closure, I do think we come down quite aggressively. Even just break this prior wick, I will call it, right? Because I remember that day I told you when that wick was broken here, we would see catastrophic falling, and you can see what happened was is that we broke the wick, it fell heavily, came back up and actually retested the wick. So if I draw a line there, it will actually be a retest of that wick, like you could see, and then continued the move, even proving even more bearish momentum. So just breaking, wicks are very powerful, and wicks don't lie and stuff. So yeah, breaking its own low, I do think we probably will initiate the fall, and naturally the 4-hour will close below. uh so that's why I say that, right? Because if you look in the past and you see wicks, it never breaks its own low, it just has rising wicks, right? And that's why breaking its own low will be very powerful. We'll have a look at Cardano now. Go on Binance, have a look at it. So in terms of on a higher time frame like a daily. So the daily looks pretty good, to be honest, right? And it's taking the dump with Bitcoin. It looks quite similar to Bitcoin. I'm looking for Cardano to really base at however you pronounce it. Looking for it to base probably somewhere around here. I'll probably draw a box just to make it more clear. Where's my box? Should be here. So yeah, we should look for it to base somewhere around this area like this, which would bring it down to, maybe 1.1. If it wants to swipe lower, I don't have any issues. We could come back down. Actually, no, that's not drawn accurately. Yeah, about 1.1 is fine for it to come down and base there. We saw that in the past, right? You could see that that movement was very, very, very similar. We saw that price came like so, went up, and then where did it come and base again? It based around this area, but that all depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin wants to take even a bigger dump, maybe we could see wicks, but I do think that based on the fundamentals of this asset, it does hold pretty strong, and I look at the dump as more of an opportunity than a problem. Non-financial advice. Same with
Yeah.
Bitcoin on a monthly chart, it's still looking healthy. We do have the monthly closing today. Theta, let's have a look.
Yeah. Cardano has a huge list of updates for this year. Same with Theta, actually. So, um, yeah, Theta hasn't been as strong as I thought it would be, but I think that's because of their second token, T Fuel, which is essentially the gas for the network. So, they've also got a new structure that gives a lot more utility to T Fuel rather than Theta. So, we, you know, maybe that might be the reason. But overall, Theta's fundamental analysis is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean the chart is not, the best. I would say, unfortunately, we have lower highs coming on the tops here, and we're holding some sort of base. But if that base does close, I would say on a daily, it's a bit hard to say. On a 4-hour, a bit messy, but on a daily, it's pretty obvious that we could see price come back down to 2.4. But yeah, I mean, still the trend is good, right? The trend is not broken until we break. 1.8. So I mean, it's looking pretty good, just not as strong as Cardano.
Can we
So
look at T Fuel?
yeah, is that a coin itself?
Yeah, have a look at this one.
I
So
mean,
this is the
some
Theta's
pumps.
secondary coin. Yeah.
To be honest, it looks pretty good.
Hmm.
It just looks like an accumulation. I mean, it doesn't have lower highs, which is surprising, right? And this is a 4 hour, no lower highs. It's just in a range. It's tested the bottom side of the range already. You can see here where it came down. Like if I was at this point, I'd said if we close below this area, I'd look for price to come and base here. It wicked below it, closed above, got bought back up quickly, and then now is making higher lows. Maybe looks to put in another higher low here, testing the middle side Bollinger Band here. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad, to be honest. Not bad, not bad.
I do want to answer one question that you asked, Lara, and that is, should I tether up? And this is not just your question, this is everyone's question at the moment. And unfortunately, I'll share my point of view. I think it's too late to tether up. I don't think that we're going to have too much more downside. Um, if Bitcoin were to really go down to 40,000, that's a 10% drop. So realistically, you're gonna, and I know alts, possibly will go down a bit more, but for it to go down another 10%, are you going to try and save yourself 10%? Are you going to be ready to be able to buy on that massive, on that dip? Um, potentially, potentially not. At least, unless if you have the time, definitely. But for those who are considering tethering, um, I will also say that, and I have listened to a few people who trade, have many years of trading experience, and they always say that looks like a scam coin. They do say that that you can always predict, you can help, you can work out what's going to happen next, but you can never work out the magnitude of what will happen. So, if we know that March is a bearish month, it's very difficult to sort of pick the magnitude of it. And March last year was a perfect example of that. How do you predict that it's going to drop down almost 70% if it were Bitcoin? You don't really. But I think fundamentally, we are just so close to adoption. It's becoming everyone's becoming very familiar with cryptocurrency now. People are starting to accept it, and there's data that sort of shows that um, that we haven't really seen the blow off top. Those who follow Plan B and his logarithmic chart. We definitely are not at that capitulating point where we can expect, the reversal in trend. So I think we're still. I think it's so to sum it all up. I think it's too late to tether up. You tether on green. That's the best strategy. And I don't think we're going to see too much. Too much more downside, but that's a personal opinion. And obviously, you're the man with the TA, Harry.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I said, that 40,000 could very well be a base, and there's a lot of things suggesting that it could. And, but I'm more looking, we've had that dump, we've had that flash, it's just testing people in this market. And it's normal in the market to see people get tested like this, especially after all of the bullish news we've had, right? They need to shake a bit of people out, create liquidity, and make a buck, right? I mean, at the end of the day, this is how markets work. It's a dirty truth. Uh, there's even speculation about how miners work. They sell they open short positions, and then they sell their Bitcoin so that they make money, more Bitcoin. At the end of the day, shorting it, going down, and then they sell it. But at the end of the day, they're looking to accumulate more Bitcoin, right? So that is good news, of course. Uh, so shout out to Crypto Zombie. I heard that from him. But you know, so It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I know that's why I work from ranges. If we go back to my charts here on Bitcoin, working in ranges is just the way that I've been most profitable trading in trading, not exactly only ranges, but taking it range by range, because you can't call anything in between a range because there's nothing. I mean, I can call, like yesterday, I could call this small dump that we were to have here, and stuff like that I can call. But the thing is that uh, you can't say, all right, is this the reversal point? You need more price history. You need to show it's based. We haven't. I don't even think we've never closed one bullish daily candle closure from this dump, except for this one here, which is probably like, that's a very clear bull trap, right? So, till then we haven't closed the daily bullish, and we need to see some significant daily bullish closure, right? With this bullish closure here, this is definitely a very, very big bull trap, to be honest. And I think that this is the shakeout here, and then maybe we come down to here. But there is a lot of buying pressure down here, and definitely a bounce, I think, is going to be seen there. Going back to someone asked for yield up, this is looking very, very bad chart. Uh, you know, Huge blow off top. So it looks like it wants to sell down. I'm not sure about the fundamentals on this, but based
They're
on
pretty good.
basic.
They're not too bad. It's like a crypto.com
All
sort
right.
of thing. Yeah.
So then I look for it probably to base somewhere around probably, if I had to say, between, it's a bit hard, but depending on the market sentiment, if people want to sell, then it could probably base just within this messy range here. Uh, do I think it taps the bottom of this range? Well, then I want to see that this is the first basing place, right? It could even base right up here where we are now, but looking how aggressive that sell is, I think it'll have a little bounce and then maybe continue a bit. But yeah, it's not looking too good. It's in a clear downtrend and looks like it wants to trade down.
Hmm.
What
I'll
else we
just
got?
gotta answer one question to Quail the Crew. Yeah, mate, I've still got my XRP, but I should say Dee's got it in her portfolio. She looks after the hodl, and I said buy XRP. Things are looking fundamentally good. So don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'll caveat all that with I don't like XRP. I think it's the biggest shat coin. However, I think there's going to be a lot of hype for it once the court case goes through. So yeah, man, I'm still holding. Yeah, and yeah, I'm definitely in the red for XRP.
Well, XRP, it moves very strangely, and it has this pump and then it goes down. It pumps and then it goes down. So technically, if you swing this, you can make good money, man. It's not
In saying that,
XRP.
it does
Yeah,
have pump groups. So,
yeah, I know.
but you're right. This if
But
you could
even
ride
in
the
history,
swings, yeah.
yeah,
So there's this one price that they always talk about, and it is just these comment not impressed. It is 17 cents. It's a historic price, and everyone knows to buy it at 17 cents because 17 cents was the low point before it went up to multiple dollars. And I just see the videos; they always make me laugh. But I think it did sort of touch 17 cents right there.
yeah, right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it cracks me up.
Well, if it comes
Anyway,
back down to 17 cents, 17 exactly, to be honest,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for shits
They
and
put
giggles,
they
I'm gonna
put they
buy
put
it
all
here.
their yeah. They always put their orders in at 17 cents. Which just
But
cracked me
yeah,
up.
what do we have? Buy
We
Doge.
have Cav saying buy Doge questionable. In saying that, Doge, and I've said this a few times, Doge is the Lord of the Rings war horn for the all crypto traders to come charging into the crypto market. So it was a very bullish signal. Yes, he does. Very bullish signal that when Doge pumps, because people are getting more familiar with cryptocurrency, people will take profits on Doge, put into Bitcoin, etc., etc.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Too emotional. Losing money while swinging. Emotions come into psychology, to be honest. I would say you know, 30% of trading and, is just learning, the technique. The rest is all psychology. I mean, if you were to, if you really like the concept of Bitcoin and 10 years ago you told yourself, this is a good asset, I'm going to put $10,000 in this and leave it for 10 years. No matter what happens in 10 years, I will just withdraw my money in 10 years. Today, you would be a multi-millionaire. And that's all to do with psychology. Even if you held through 2017 and it was like a big blow off top and you still said, well, no, my rules were, it's all to have a trading plan. And Gooding has gone over this in previous live streams. It's so important to have a trading plan. And it ties in a lot about with psychology and stuff. So yeah.
It does. And if you feel like you get a little too emotional there, Koala, like most of us do, mate, it's actually very common. I'd even say it's 99% of people yeah have not controlled their emotions when it comes to investing. There's a book you can read. It's called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Read it, and once you finish it, then read it again. Take notes, and it'll just sort of help you sort of you know look at things from a mathematical point of view and a goal focused point of view, and all about it focuses on probabilities as well, and that will help you take the emotion out of trading, although it's not going to be that that silver bullet. However, it'll make you more aware of your own emotions and your own thought processes, and it identifies what you need to sort of cut away so that you can think clearly and look at numbers and suck up your pride if you did have a trade that didn't go the way you thought it would. So um, these things sort of happen, mate. And yeah, Trading in the Zone, highly recommend that you read it.
Yeah, it's a good book. I always, in trading, it's always it's a very scary, type of career to go down. It brings out all the negatives in your psychology in terms of making fast decisions, correct decisions. All comes down to your technique. If you have a flaw in your technique, you should always be comfortable in a trade. If you're not comfortable in your trade, then obviously you're doubting your technique, and you need to go back and look at that in a different way. And every time someone asks, about trading, trading is the only job in the world that you and investing in crypto and this whole degen space we're in and aping into stuff and jumping in, jumping out. It's the only, money making job. I don't know how to put it, but you guys get what I mean. In the world that uh, you sit at a screen for 5 6 hours a day looking at these charts, looking for opportunities to potentially lose money. You're working 5 hours a day to lose money. And there's no other job in the world that you would go to work for 5 hours and would lose money. In markets are the only way that I know that happens. uh, so it doesn't, you have to look at the opportunity that it also brings on the other hand, right? And at the end of the day, losing money is just a part of the game. And if you're losing more money than you can afford, then obviously you're over risking and you need to reevaluate your technique, right? And yeah, there's a lot that does come to it with psychology and emotion. And I think it makes up a major part, especially when we're going down now. Our portfolios are not looking the best. They're not where they used to be. The market's a bit shaken. These are the times you really need to respect that, at some point the market will turn around, and, this is how it's going to feel. And we're not going to have this euphoria. And during those times, you have to be grateful for where you've started and where you've come, and you have to look back and say, like, all right, is this the right time for me to take profits? Why is everything, because whatever goes up has to come down. And then you guys can start trading, because trading makes money on the way down as well. So that can be beneficial. And yeah, that's just some thoughts I have to say.
No, that's good. Yeah, I do want to throw it out to the group. Thanks very much for joining us. If you do have questions, feel free to just ask away. it could be anything. But while you're thinking about your questions, some food for thought. When you're the first thing I started doing when I saw the market dump as quickly as it did, which honestly really shocked me. I started looking at the data, and you've got to start looking at the data. You've got to stop relying on like people like me, for instance. And I'm not whingy. I'm just saying you can't rely on YouTubers to tell you what is happening. You want to be the first one, right? You want to be the one that knows this stuff. When all the mainstream YouTubers were talking about the Ethereum network dying, and everything moving into the Binance Smart Chain, you're already too late. They will all tend to at least 10 days up to 2 months. Even you look back at the data, you could see the growth on the Binance Smart Chain really growing back in December last year. It's when you hear YouTubers talk about it, it's too late. So, but if you had the data, you could make these decisions for yourself. You could say, wow, there's a lot of activity on the Binance Smart Chain. I'm just going to get a little bag here and there. And I tell you now, you'd be heavily in profit with Cake. You'd be heavily in profit with BNB. And even when I started bringing it up on the live stream, you'd still be heavily in profit with BNB, even though I was really still a month and a half late. So look at the data. And when this dump started occurring, I started looking at the data, and I was looking at, you know, what's happening, what's causing the market. That is a really scary looking cloud looking thing down there. But I looked at the data, and once I realized it was just miners selling off, I was a lot less worried. I knew it wasn't Michael Saylor selling, our crypto idol, and that's the sort of information you guys need to gather, and then you can just reassure yourself. All right, are we seeing the top? Does all the smart money think that we're at the top right now? Is that why they're cashing in? And if they're not cashing in, and that Michael Saylor's just put an order in for $1 billion worth. We see Square putting in another 170 million. We see Motley Fool, very very small fry, they can put 5 million in. These institutions are still buying, and they don't care about this piss that us individuals are sort of caring about right now.
Yeah,
We're
they're
too
looking at the
busy.
1 month chart.
Exactly right. We're looking at some of us are looking at the 5 minute chart, right? And even the daily chart can look a little bit scary sometimes. So, uh, there's a saying, when in doubt, zoom out. And I know it's easy for me to say, and it's very difficult to do if you did buy in at a very high price. And there are a lot of new people within the crypto space that don't understand this. They haven't built their mental fortitude to help them make these logical decisions rather than emotional decisions. So just try to look at the data, start teaching yourself. I can't guarantee you, but I say most likely we are still in a bull run.
Oh, for
um,
sure, man. Just based on
and
past data.
Exactly right. We're still in a bull run. You are not. It's not going to zero for starters, and you will be in profit sooner rather than later. I don't think we're going to have that too much more of a dump. I know, Harry. Did you want to also bring up? I know you don't usually rely on this, but a lot of institutions look at the 200-day moving average as well on the daily.
Yeah, the 200 and the 50 is amazing.
Yeah.
50
So
is one of my, yeah, I can bring it up.
So a lot of
See, that's the
institutions,
50. And look where the 50 is coming in, right? 41,000. And yeah, I mean, that's really, really nice to see that 50 is coming, because that's what we're looking at, right? So it's nice to
mm,
first, I'll bring up the 200 as well. Sorry, but yeah, I like the 50 a lot. And we haven't crossed the 50 on a daily. And you can see in the past when we've crossed the 50 on a daily, it's never been a death sentence, right? Forget about that. But you can see here, we've normally got an accumulation pump. And yeah, 50 is coming in there. I'll bring up the 200 now in my settings. Which one is the 200? Would be 21, 50, 100, and 200. There's your 200 on the daily.
Where's the 200 sitting at the moment?
20,
35,000?
no, 26,000.
26,000. Okay. So I don't think, I very much doubt it'll go down to 26,000. Institutions wouldn't let it because they bought in higher, right? And we
50,
do
let's
know,
use the 50.
yeah,
Because, I mean,
yeah, I agree.
go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. No, no, I was going to say I agree. Like, how many times has that actually hit the 200? And even then, if you go, even if you scroll down to October there, look how close it was to the 200. And then what happened when it did get close to 200? It rocketed big time. That was when it was at the 10 to $12,000 range down there. So, I'm not saying I don't. I think we're still in a bull run, so we're very unlikely to to get anywhere near the 200. But that 50, uh, that's a huge support. And
It seems reasonable, based on moving average strategies. Uh, I know the institution, for me, the 50 is very underutilized. Uh, you don't hear, it's mostly hear about the 21, the 200, but I really like the 50. And even on lower time frames, it makes a killing, man. I haven't looked at it for a while. Let's go have a look at the 4 hour, and it called, if I remove all of this rubbish and just bring it like this, you can see, the 50, as soon as we had a small dump here, that bull trap, and as soon as we broke the 50, we've been kind of, you can see, close within, on a moving average being governed by it. And we've done this before, guys. It's not the first time. You can see we've been below the 50, and it's never been a dead sentence. You can see how many times support, support, now resistance, resistance,
yeah,
resistance, and
most people when they see it go under the 50, they see that as an opportunity. So
yeah.
just keep that in mind.
I mean, that 40,000, I do expect us, maybe to come down there. I really want to see CMEs open, and we'll see what happens. But to be honest, I don't think this is over, just based on bullish sentiment. Like, uh, people are buying. It's not fake, that news that Elon has bought Bitcoin. It's they're not gonna make themselves, lose money in this market. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't make sense. Bitcoin is now a hedge, and we will see these shakeouts. It's how the asset is, and it's why everyone loves and hates crypto. And it's just something you have to get used to. And if you don't believe in the asset, then you should not have invested in it in the beginning. And it's as simple as that. Said Raw. If you just wanted a quick gain, then no. I know we all join crypto for that, but if you understand it properly, you, like Gooding said, you start investing not into the price, into the data, right? And the data is really what's gonna supersede small term dumps like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. If
I
anyone
think
has questions,
that's No, I think I've already given them the opportunity to ask questions, and I think they are across everything at the moment. So I just want to say we might wrap it up there, and just say thank you very much, guys, for tuning in for this week's weekly special with Harry and TA on your favorite shat coins. But I hope you found some value in that information, and if you did, please press that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn notifications on. We will always do our best to keep you guys informed and to help you guys hopefully make the better investment decisions that suit yourselves. So yeah, if you can support the channel, we'll keep this information cranking. And if you want to get more involved, head into our Telegram. The link to our Telegram is in the description. We also have a Discord. As well that you can get involved with. And we'll catch you tomorrow for the daily news. See you later.
peace.